John Bachman. Welcome to this Newsmax Now update. Texas Governor Rick Perry is out of jail, of course, and in New Hampshire today. The potential 2016 presidential candidate has been on a busy two-week tour despite a recent indictment accusing him of abusing his powers. The governor waived an arraignment in Texas that was scheduled for today. He has pleaded not guilty to those charges. Many call him politically motivated. Yesterday, Rick Perry was in Washington, D.C. and at the Heritage Foundation saying he's open to sending troops to fight ISIS.
And even though these killers have seen glimpses of our superior power and technology, they need to see a lot more of it.
Well, Perry also talked about the threat of terrorists crossing over the U.S.-Mexico border. Pope Francis is speaking out against ISIS, saying the unjust aggressor must be stopped. The pontiff condemned the recent beheading of American journalist James Foley. He spoke with Foley's parents Thursday evening and offered his prayers and support. Francis is the first pope in 100 years to support Western military force. And earlier today, Princeton professor Dr. Robert George, I should say, was on Newsmax TV. He talked about the persecution of Christians and other religious minorities at the hands of Islamic radicals.
This is a genocidal force. This is a genocidal element that will stop at nothing. They will eliminate anybody who stands in the way of their goal, which is establishing an Islamic caliphate throughout the Middle East.
Dr. George says America needs to provide more assistance to Iraqi and Kurdish fighters fighting against ISIS, and he urged Americans to pressure President Obama to do the same. Meanwhile, Shia militia killed more than 40 Sunni Muslims earlier today in Iraq. The attack highlights increasing sectarian violence as a new Iraqi government tries to get a handle on things. Shia forces also executed 15 Sunnis last month and then hanged them in a public square, this according to Reuters. The White House and the Pentagon continue to urge Iraqi leaders to form a new, more inclusive government, saying that is the only real solution for stopping ISIS and other radical elements. Meantime, at the Pentagon, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel painted a chilling and dangerous picture of the threat ISIS or ISIL poses to the United States. Hagel says Sunni extremists are an imminent threat to American interest in the Middle East. The Defense Secretary says the Islamic radicals are, quote, beyond anything we've seen before. Now in Gaza today, gunmen killed 18 people suspected of spying for Israel. 7 people were shot and killed execution style behind a mosque after midday prayers. This after 4 Hamas leaders were killed during Israeli airstrikes yesterday. Also, Hamas is now admitting to kidnapping and murdering those 3 Israeli teenagers just a few months ago. Things are also heating up in eastern Ukraine today. Officials in Kiev have called out Moscow for a direct invasion. Nearly 150 Russian trucks carrying what Moscow claims to be humanitarian aid crossed over the border today without permission. Russia's foreign minister says the Kremlin had run out of patience and says aid needs to be sent to people in the war-torn region. Ukrainian authorities are still trying to figure out how to respond. They have not ruled out military action. I'm John Bachman. More news in 30 minutes. Now back to Midpoint.